guys, welcome back to Growing and Crowing. So it's been a few weeks since we've talked anything about garden around here, and the truth is it's just been crazy busy. My photography business is beginning to ramp up for the season. As it happens in the fall, I just get crazy busy, so less and less time to get things accomplished at home. But as you can see, the kitchen's an absolute mess because we've literally been bringing the garden inside and trying to do what I can as far as processing a little bit each day. So I've done salsa and tomato juice, which I can turn into tomato soup later on. And then, what else? Juice. Oh, I just did salsa yesterday, and I had just a simple Mrs. Wages canister. So I did that, and it's a long process to do all of those things, but it's worth it. And it's, I love to see it all lined up in the pantry, and makes you feel a little bit accomplished, like you actually did something with that, all the work you put into the garden. So yeah, it's been super busy around here. I had started a couple videos on a couple different things and had full intentions of getting them up, and it just didn't happen. But I'm gonna go ahead and include those today, and kind of talk about what we were doing there. So one is about wild plums, and so I'm going to insert that here. And then also our apple trees are starting to ripen, and actually one is already done and pretty well gone, but we've been busy making apple chips and applesauce, and I even did some applesauce donuts the other day, which the kids absolutely loved. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and then I'll come back at the end and we'll do a quick walkthrough of what the garden looks like now, and introduce you to a couple new sheep that we got this last month as well. So I hope you enjoy. So today we are on our CRP. Aaron and I were driving around checking food plots and stuff, and came across some wild plums. So this tree or bush is something that we kind of keep an eye on every year, but we've never had a year where there were enough to harvest, and this year I think there is. So I'm out here today, and we're gonna pick a few of them and possibly make some sort of plum jelly or jam or something with them. So I'm not sure if I'll freeze them for now and do that this winter, or I'll have time this week to give that a try. But for now, I'm going to get a bunch of them picked today. As you can see, they're pretty tiny, almost the size of a cherry. And from everything that I've been looking up, that's what they are. So they're pretty small, but we're going to make jelly as opposed to jam. So we don't have to pit them and do all that. And that's kind of what I'm thinking when I was looking up some different recipes this morning, or things to do with them. That seems to be the easiest. And like I said, we might put a portion, that's a pretty good size one. I might put a portion of them in the freezer just so we have that to do this winter. But I might, if I have some time this week, make a batch just to try it out and see what it tastes like. So it's kind of pretty cool that we have something like this that we didn't plant, it just grew. And someone from the family who owned this years ago has always referred to an orchard being here, and we're not quite sure where, but maybe there was some type of a plum tree that was there, and this is, kind of reseeded itself or kind of established itself here after all that time. So who knows, or maybe it's just, you know, a wild plant that got planted here by a bird. So yeah, I've got a lot to do, and we'll see how many we can get and go from there. So as you can see here too, we also have elderberry growing. This is where in a video earlier this spring, I showed you all the blooms for the black raspberries, and we did have a ton of raspberries. I wasn't very good about getting out here and getting many of them picked and put in the freezer like I had hoped, but it's just kind of a cool little area, and again, a neat thing that we can just go out our back door and kind of forage for some stuff. And it's taken us a few years, or at least me a few years, to know what all the things are, but we're learning and kind of seeing what we can do with them. So elderberry is one of those things where a lot of people make elderberry syrup with it, which we've done. I've done elderberry jam, which is really good as well, kind of like it's almost like a grape jam to me. So that is on our list of to-dos here. It looks like we need to get that done before the birds are actually going to clear some of those darker purple ones off. But yeah, probably what I'll do, and what I did last year, was just pull them off and stick them in the freezer for jam making over the winter. I still have some in the freezer, but I also thought about maybe dehydrating them, because that's how I used to buy them when I would buy them online before I realized we had quite a few out here. So we'll see. Nonetheless, I have a white sweatshirt on today, so I am not picking this morning. We're just going for those plums, and then maybe this evening or one night this week when I have some time, I can come back out and do that. So this is all elderberry right here. So yeah, there's quite a few of it. I mean, like a ton, and you can kind of see where the birds have started plucking them off. So yeah, gonna have to get on that if we want to have any of those in the freezer or for jam making. Guys, so this morning I am out picking some of our gala apples. This is just one of, I think we have 5 varieties of apple trees out here, and these ones are ripe first, so I'm gonna see how many I can pick, and then possibly, hopefully tomorrow, have a processing day where we can start some apple chips and maybe some applesauce. And these are really good. They're not a great pie apple, although you could just mix them with whatever other variety and do that, but they're really good for just eating fresh with some peanut butter or just by itself. But I'm gonna pick a bucket load and then see what we get and see what we can get done with it, just so they don't start all falling on the ground and get out of hand before I can even get anything done with them. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of sorting through and making sure. There's a few that just have, you can tell there's some sort of worm or bug in there. And those obviously, you know, we'll cut apart for applesauce or whatever and cut the bad spots off or whatever's in there. But some of them have some sort of little, I don't know what that is on there. Probably totally fine. I could cut half that off. But anyways, there's plenty here. So the other ones we'll put in a bucket and give to the cows. So a little bit about the trees that we planted here. We have semi-dwarf trees, and I ordered all my fruit trees from Stark Brothers. I'll post a link below so you guys can find that. I did the semi-dwarf because I didn't want it to take up a huge amount of space, and I wanted to be able to plant 5 or 6 different varieties. So they're still pretty tall, and we actually had to buy an apple picker last year, which by the way was kind of hard to find. So, but and way more expensive than I thought they would have been. But anyhow, it's just tall enough that we need that, but not tall, you know, not big enough trees that they're going to take over the whole yard. And if you trim them up properly, take up a lot less space, which some years we do better with pruning than others. But it's still, I love the fact that we can walk out into our yard and pick an apple to pack in a lunch or make an apple crisp really quick or do something like that. So I'm glad we planted them about, oh my gosh, I have to think of how many years we've had them now. I remember Aaron saying, you know, by the time these have apples on them, the boys are going to be like in high school. I'm like, yeah. And man, did that time fly. So it's been a good, you know, at least 7-8 years, probably even more than that. I'll have to do some looking and see when we planted them, but they were just, you know, these little sticks that we put in the ground, and now we get fruit off them every year. So it was worth it. Plant the tree. Okay guys, so it's been a few weeks since I shot that apple and wild plum videos, but I wanted to share them with you. And so today I thought I'd show you some of the other apple trees they're just loaded this year. So some of them are ready, some of them have a little bit while to go, but we are gonna have a ton of apples to work with this year. And I see lots of applesauce in the future, apple chips. My kids actually do love apple chips. They're super easy and just put them in the dehydrator. So maybe I'll do a video or a short on that here in the near future. So the red raspberries are also starting to ripen again. And it seems like everything this year is kind of going a little early. I keep telling Aaron that I really think we're going to have an early fall because the berries seem to be ready early this year. The goldenrod is already blooming, which I know it's almost September, but I swear that didn't normally happen until, you know, closer to mid-September, if not, you know, first part. But yeah, so you can see this tree has some blight issues, but there's just a ton of apples on there. So this one, I will have to look up and see what this one is. And man, so many of them fell on the ground already, and you can see the dang birds have really enjoyed them because those are a super good sweet apple. So I got a few off there that we've been eating fresh, but the bugs and birds have really done a number on that. So that's on the apple side of things. And again, I mentioned earlier this spring in a video, but our peach trees did nothing. And talking to a couple other people locally, they didn't have peaches this year as well. Maybe a late frost that took the blooms or something. I'm not sure, but yeah. So anyways, that's okay because we have a ton of apples to work with this year. So that'll keep us busy. We doing, Lucky? Maybe next year we'll get some more peaches. And actually it's probably okay to give those trees a break because peach trees seem to get so loaded and then branches break off or they split in half. So it's probably a good thing that those trees got a little bit of a break this year. So okay, so we'll head to the garden and I'll show you that. It's not the prettiest time of day to do a video just because it's full sun and you know, not that pretty evening light, but we're gonna go for it because that's what we have time for today. So if we can get the turkeys and guineas to calm down here, I can give you the next part of this video. But as you can see, we have a few little pumpkins that I did pull. So actually the sheep planted them last year. I always try to give them extra pumpkins and gourds at the end of the year because it's a natural dewormer, but they also really, really love them. So, you know, we throw them out to them, they eat them. The seeds come out and they replanted them. So I did go ahead and pull them the other day just before the sheep, you know, step on them or eat them. So I had a few, plus we had a couple nice days that it was really feeling like fall. So I was excited to have those. So I'll see if I can get the sheep to come up and possibly see those 3 new ones. They are a commercial, so they got a lot of dorper in them. They're, you know, the black and white, and don't shed out the best, but we bought them from some neighbors, and I love that their kids can still come up and see them whenever they want. So our ram has been out here since the end of July. So we'll see if we'll get early babies. They may be, you know, Christmas babies. They may be January before they start. So we'll see. We're going to have we have 30 sheep now, that's including the ram. So we should have lots of babies this winter and early spring, and so we'll have lots to do that will keep us busy and out in those cold, snowy days. But all right, let me see if I can call them up here. Come on, sheep! Come on, sheep! Sometimes if I go to the other side, we'll see. There. All right. So let's see if we can get them. Come on, sheep! They're kind of already right here, so they're probably like, what? We are literally right here. You can see the rams laying down with a couple of them. So yeah, this pasture is definitely we'll have them over the winter, but we've been trying to rotate them from the below pasture and kind of give that one a break. That's where the two cows are right now. So we have them rotated up here, and then they've done a good job of getting some weeds knocked down and things, but they'll go back down below here before they're back up here for the fall and winter, and hopefully it's going to be quite a long while yet before we have to start feeding hay. So which we need to go pick up this weekend, so that's on our to-do list as well. But yeah, everybody's doing good, and the fact that I love this time of year that they can just be out on grass, fill the waters, and they're literally so low maintenance this time of year. Knock on wood, unless somebody gets stuck in a fence or something crazy like that. But here you can kind of see the ram is actually paying some extra attention to the new ones, which obviously because we just got them, so they'll be, have babies later. I do believe they're just over a year. Oh geez, they're just over a year old, so they'll all be first time moms. So we'll see how that goes, but hopefully they do a good job. But they'll be a little bit later than the other ones just because I got them a little later, so we'll see. But yeah, you can see, there we go. So I have quite a few mixed ones now, commercial. I don't mind them. So I found that the dorpers are really good mamas. We kind of, they're a dorper katahdin cross, and then if I can get my ram to come out here, you could see him a little better, but he's a pure katahdin and registered, which we do have some ewes that are registered also, quite a few of them actually, and mainly, it's more for my purposes, for bookkeeping and that kind of thing, to have them registered. We don't show them or anything. We try to get Ella to do that, and she refuses. So yeah, everything's good in the sheep world, and we'll have lots of babies to show over the winter, hopefully soon. So as you can see, the green stalks are starting to look a little rough, but there's still a few things blooming in there, and not bad. These are hollyhocks that I planted last fall. Not a clue if they don't bloom the first year or what, but plant wise it's looking good. So I don't know, I got to look into that a little bit, but they're kind of coming out of the boundaries there, and Lord, if you get into the yard at all, you're going to get mowed over or weed whipped. But so over in the garden there's cosmos in the two buckets. They're doing okay in there, but I think it just dries out so fast that they're not thriving. So probably zinnias are a better bet for that next year. I'll still do those tulip bulbs in there because I absolutely loved how that looked this spring. There's a couple of those pumpkins. I replaced and pulled out some of the old flowers and stuck some pumpkins in those hanging baskets just to make it a little more fall. Okay, so this is where, oh here, I see what I'm doing. Okay, that's better. This is where our cabbage was. That darn cabbage is still in my fridge, and I have full intentions of making sauerkraut with it. Bought a sauerkraut pot and everything's just haven't got that done, so that is definitely on my to-do list very quickly. these are poppies, and they're so pretty. I'll just see if I can link. Well, everything seed-wise came to from Baker's Creek, so they're definitely on there. But I've never had poppies grow before, so that's pretty cool. And then there's a few kohlrabies left in that one. This one is where I had sunflowers, and you can see some of the bigger ones fell over, so not a big deal. I at least still have some sunflowers and zinnias going. This one is zinnias and aroma tomato. Oh my gosh, we have so many tomatoes going right now, and you can see that there's still a ton of green ones that haven't even turned yet. So we'll be doing all kinds of tomato stuff yet for quite some time, I believe. The peppers and the dill's starting to dry out, so I have been trying to save some of those seeds just to use in pickling, and also so we can replant some of that next year. But my green peppers did not do wonderful. I don't know, or bell peppers, I should say. They're just tiny, and I don't know. Well, I'm not sure, but there's some jalapenos in this one. Actually, there's a lot of jalapenos in this one that have turned red and probably gotten pretty woody yet. So I don't know if we'll do some cowboy candy with that. So I'm not sure what this, if it's some sort of a jalapeno, not a pino, something that's not, it's not spicy, but we've used them in a few things. Aaron did some stuffed peppers one night that were good. Lots of banana peppers. So yeah, that filled out really nice, and I do really love the planters. I wasn't really sure, just because I wasn't sure how I would feel about not a full in-ground garden, and honestly, keeping up with the weeds it's been a game changer. And when I walk over to the other garden boxes, you'll understand why, because it's a hot mess over there, which is what the garden normally looked like here. So but yes, this one's all zinnias in here. These cosmos, you can tell, did so much better than in those little buckets. So that's why I said next year maybe we'll do some zinnias or something else. Another Roma. There's lots of red ones over there, and actually I just picked a ton, so that's why there's not quite a few on here today. Those cosmos are so pretty. I just saw a video that you should pick the cosmos when they're just starting to open, so that, like, if you're going to put them in the house in the jar, because they'll last longer because they'll open up in the house, but we'll throw some in the vase anyhow, probably just like that. This poor zucchini squash bugs are my arch nemesis, and they typically always win. I get off of it what I can. We'll make zucchini bread and saute up some zucchini and that sort of thing, but that's about it. There's one in here that might be savable. Otherwise, oh yeah, see, you can see where they've just chewed on it. So we'll throw that into the guineas and peacocks, and they'll get a treat. So that's all right too. The green beans are starting to fade pretty good, but we did get quite a few off those. I froze some, and then we did some dilly beans, just refrigerator dilly beans. There's probably a pretty good batch in there yet I could pick that are just starting. I love to come out here and just eat them fresh also. So another one with zinnias and Roma tomatoes. Actually, those might be a little different variety of tomato. Yeah. I don't honestly know what variety that is, because I bought most of the plants from the FFA sale, and probably like an early girl or something like that. But anyways, this one, cosmos again, and marigolds with eggplant in the middle. I don't know, the eggplant was kind of like they had it at the sale, so I just bought one. We tried it with the zucchini. It's not something that I love, but maybe it's something that we need to learn to cook a little different or something like that. But it was an interesting one to give a try too, because in the past I never had great luck with doing that. So zinnias are, again, my favorite. I say that all the time, because they bloom all summer long. And one thing that we'll have to do next year, and just mainly a note for myself, we can see that
the dirt has really sunk down because this was the first year with these, and we did expect that to happen. So we'll throw some compost on top this fall and keep building up on that, being the first year. But because of these braces in here, the tomato cages just couldn't stick down in there very well. So I think next year we'll do just like a fencing post and then have to tie up the tomatoes to it. So they didn't break off, but they're not standing up very well either. So yeah, all in all, it's the garden it's a hot mess, but it's really nothing compared to what it normally is. So let's take a walk over by my greenhouse, and I'll show you the in-ground gardens and truly what a hot mess garden looks like. It's what it is in August, I guess. So
Okay, so I didn't realize it, but at this point my microphone died. But this is the side of the garden where we have our raised in-ground beds. This particular one, Ella and I spent some time and cleaned out. So this is where our potatoes are planted that will be getting dug up here within the next week or so. And this one, the sunflowers have really done really well on this, and I'm glad for that because it makes it look a little prettier and not such a hot mess that it truly is. These particular tomatoes we planted a little bit earlier than the ones in the main garden. I believe they're about like an early grow variety of some sorts. So that's kind of where we're getting our main supply of tomatoes right now to do all that canning and stuff. And as you can see, there's an overabundance of it, and we'll be picking tomatoes for quite some more weeks, I think. The rhubarb on the other side is, to the end of the season, but still looking pretty good, and I need to get some of that dug out of there and probably transplant it or share with some neighbors and that sort of thing. The asparagus is not quite to the point where it needs to be cut down, but it needs to be cut back shortly. And my poor strawberry bed is overrun by weeds, such as life, such as August, and the overgrown garden once we go on vacation or are out of town. It happens to me every year. So that's truth there for gardening for you there. The greenhouse also tends to really grow those weeds inside, so I just wait till they die off in the fall and pull them all out, and it'll be fine. It is what it is. This is the stock tank where the garlic was grown earlier this year, so a little bit of grass in there I need to pull out, and actually it's time to order garlic bulbs, or probably what I'll do is use some of the garlic that we harvested this year and plant some of that to have for next year. So I can't believe this magnolia tree or tulip tree, I think it's tulip tree more than a magnolia, is blooming again. Typically this blooms in the spring, but it's got a few blooms on it this fall, so that's kind of cool. They're really pretty. This big old tree, or bush, whatever you call it, as I got it from a local landscaping company a few years back, and I was looking for one, and the gal said, well, we have this one. It doesn't look very good, and it was not much, it looked pretty rough, but she's like, for $20 you can have it. So I bought it and planted it, and it's thriving and starting to become really, really big. I'm not quite sure how big it's going to get, but it's definitely getting there and kind of taking over, but I do love it because it gets those blooms on there and makes it really pretty, especially in the spring. So yeah, that side of the yard is got a lot of things that need to be done with it, but again, that's what happens. It's life. So thanks, guys, for joining us today as we took a look back on a few things that we've been up to, and hopefully we'll be back next week with our weekly video and kind of update on what's been going on and what we're preserving and what we're behind on. It was a real struggle bus with that microphone today, but we hope you enjoy the video, and we thank you for joining us as we share our farm in West Central Illinois.